yet because I don't. Oh,
Are
there we are.
Uh-oh, I just saw the live light go on. Lights, camera, action.
Yes. Hello, everybody, and welcome to our last installment of the Authorpreneur Roadmap to Success. Nicole, have we not had the best time these last few weeks?
Oh my goodness, Nadia. We have gotten so much information to the point where Nadia and I have our notepads out and we're like writing notes. Oh my gosh, I didn't know that. Didn't hear that. We're like,
so good.
We're learning as well.
So much good information. We had Tracy Jiggets. I said it right. Hey, Tracy. Yeah. She was on first. She was amazing. She talked a lot about her process and restarting a publishing company herself, coming from being traditionally published. And then we had the genius that is Pam Perry last week. I felt like I was in school. Did you feel like
exactly.
I could not to her? I was like taking so many notes. She was also very good. And for those of you who are tuning in now, we have Anthony A.J. Joyner. He is an Instagram genius as well. And I love what he's been able to. Yeah, I love what he's been able to do. What's really funny is I met AJ a couple of years ago when I was managing a bar. I know you don't see it in me, but I used to tend bar.
I've been in a bar.
Me? Not
who, me?
And AJ handled a lot of the promotion and marketing for us, and so I only know the goofy DJ-ish AJ. And so when I heard that he had written a book, first of all, right, I didn't believe it. I was like, yeah, right. AJ
like he writes, he knows how to write.
I was like, what? He knows how to use pens and pencils? Okay. Like, what? And Dr. AJ,
you meat raw.
And I immediately went and downloaded the book, you guys, and it is so good, chock full of wisdom. Talks a lot about how Instagram started, how you use Instagram effectively, and the guy is like a #1 Amazon bestseller. Now, here's the kicker before we let him talk, because he's going to tell us all the great things that he did. We tell authors that you need an author profile, and you need to blog, and you need to have a website, and a one-sheet, and a media kit. Don't we, Nicole? Like, that's what we do.
And me and Nadia, when we were doing our research for this interview, we were like, where is AJ? He doesn't have a bio. We can't find him. Like, where is he? And then I finally did a Google search, because you know me, I say God first, then Google. Everything. I did a Google search, and I finally found him. Like, I was like, there he is, and I found his blog, his podcast, and then I found his me page. So it gave me information. So I was like, he has to be somewhere now.
And he is absolutely killing it on Amazon. So without further ado, welcome Anthony A.J. Joyner to the show. Thank you for coming, A.J.
Well, first of all, thank you for that awesome introduction. And I hope that I can live up to everybody that's been on before, #1. And I hope that I can at least show you guys some of the things that I've done to hit #1 and maybe help some other people hit #1. And I'm always available via Twitter and Instagram, even though I didn't follow any of the traditional tips that I give in any of my books. So this is definitely a practice of do as I do and not as I say. But I'm more than happy to share everything I know via this conversation, because it's not an interview, it's a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to share as much as I can during the conversation, and then I'm available for any questions.
Perfect.
I love it.
I do have a question just starting off.
Okay.
You do a lot of consulting, a lot of marketing and promoting. What prompted you, or what started you writing, or what made you want to be an author to begin with?
For those who don't know, and I'm not saying that as if I'm anybody or whatever, but so back in 1998, I actually started a blog before any of my peers had blogs, and it was called the A Spot, and it started out actually as just an email. So I sent an email out to probably 25 or so friends, and the email was literally a rant about how it was a conspiracy theory for the New England Patriots to beat the St. Louis Rams in the Super Bowl. And that's literally what it was. 22 people, And if you remember, that's the Super Bowl that was right after 9/11. So I was like, okay, whatever, it's the government involved. So what happened is so many people liked the email and responded to it that they started sending it to other people. So, you know, what started as 22 friends turned into 22 friends plus 25 of their friends. So I didn't give it much thought, you know what I mean? I just wrote, I said, okay, well, that was kind of cool. You know, other people that I didn't know asking me, hey, can you add me to your email if you ever send one again? And to be quite honest, I never thought I would send one again. I was just like, that's a one-time thing. So something else happened. I don't even remember what, but I sent another one out. And the second one went from the 22 original people plus the 20 or so friends they sent it to. And then they forwarded it, and now all of a sudden I had 180 people that wanted to be on my email list. So I was like, wait a minute, you know, I knew something was there after that, but I didn't know what. And I do have an IT background, so I was like, okay, well, let me just throw up a website. And I did some research and looked up a newsletter. I knew that I could do a newsletter, so I looked up a newsletter carrier, and I was like, okay, so I started a newsletter and a website. And it was called the A Spot. So that's kind of how I got started. It was literally by happenstance.
Wow. So do you think that people, that it's necessary to be successful? Like, do you have to have an online presence nowadays to be successful? Because you said it was kind of happenstance for you, you know, that this happened for you. So do you think that people necessarily need a social media presence to be successful?
Well, so I guess there are two different ways that you can look at that. So the answer is yes and no. It just depends on what your focus is, right? But I think if you are selling a product and you're not a speaker or you're not out doing hand-to-hand, kind of the old school sales way, you absolutely need an audience. Now, that audience can be Google Hangouts, that audience can be a Facebook group, it can be a blog, it can be a podcast. Whatever it is, you need an audience, and you need a way to communicate your message directly to people from your mouth to their ears, right? So I think that in and of itself gives you a boost once you do release a product. So I think, to answer your question, the short answer is yes.
Okay. Got you. So specifically, like, for authors, do you have any recommendations of what social media networks they need to be a part of? Because it can get overwhelming. Like, there are like millions of social networks. Like,
everyone has a social network.
Right. There's a social network for this, that, and right. I mean, where do you think they should start as an author?
So I guess it depends on the person, right? Because some authors are introverted people, right? So I think if you're an introvert and you don't want to communicate with people in this medium like we're talking now, I think a blog is a great place to start, or a newsletter, or even, honestly, a Facebook group, because, again, it's a one-way communication channel, and you can control what you respond to, or you can control kind of the message a little bit more when it's just your one-way communication. And as it relates to blogs, I know some bloggers that actually turn the comments off, right? So it's like a one-way message that they're putting out. They can track their stats by using Google Analytics and things like that. But I think that is for a particular type person. I think that a Google Hangout or something like that's live is more for a person that is more kind of on the spot and can be in the moment and answer questions real time and kind of go back and forth. I think a Pinterest and Instagram is kind of a mix because it's visual, right? So I'll default to Instagram, for example. So Instagram, you can post things that actually get attention. That will actually, and I guess that's all social media networks, right? So the first thing you want to do is you want to start by doing something that is newsworthy or talking about something that is attention worthy. And one of the things that I see authors do a lot, and again, you know, different people have different ways of doing things, but you have to make your message, no matter what that message is, relevant to the person that you're talking to, right?
Definitely.
So I see some people that write books, and the book is like their bio and their story and their, oh, this is what I've been through, and you need to read my book because this is what I've been through, and it may be able to help you, but it's more so about me. I think that if you turn that message around and you focus the message on the people that are consuming your book or the people that are reading your book, and you think about marketing and engagement from a user perspective versus the author perspective, it'll give you a lot more insight and make it a lot easier when it comes to marketing your message.
I agree.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point. We talk a lot about selling a book and writing a book is two totally different things.
Absolutely.
And so anytime you're selling any type of product, if you want to be great at sales, here's a little tidbit from a former mattress saleswoman, is that you have to make it about the customer. So exactly, you have to know who your target market is before you write the book, or as you're writing the book, who is going to benefit from what I'm writing. So you need to know that up front. And just like AJ said, if you're using social media, then you're putting imaging up that's directly related or going to pull in the audience that you want to get your book, that you want to expose to your book. So I think that's a really great point. So AJ, what made you want to write, though? So I know that you told us kind of your background with the newsletter. What made you actually want to put out a physical book?
So I guess the first thing is I was kind of looking at the landscape of where I was in my personal life, right? So with a new 2-year-old baby, and I was kind of over the whole club promotion thing. But again, I built this following over the last almost 16 or 17 years now, right? So it's even this was before Black Planet.
Wow.
Maybe dating myself, but so even before any of those social networks were even formed, I had this email list of, at the time maybe 100 or 200 people, and I was already communicating. So I thought after my post-quote club career, what social media marketing, people always talk to me about that. A lot of the restaurants and a lot of the venues that I work with, they always wanted me to do things with their social media, with their email newsletter marketing. But I saw Instagram as a unique opportunity because, here's this up and coming network and millions of people are joining it a day. But at the time, I didn't see anybody or any business or any, a lot of people leveraging that for marketing, right? So most of the people that were using it for selfies and taking pictures of their food and pictures of their friends and things like that. So I said, well, what if I looked at this app the same way that some of the businesses look at Facebook or Twitter? And I wanted to kind of be the first into that market. So it wasn't that I loved Instagram that much. It was just that I saw the huge opportunity and I didn't see anybody wading out into the ocean known as Instagram.
Gotcha. So AJ, I have a question now. Like you just made me think about something as you were saying that. Tell me, what is the difference between using a social media platform for personal use and then using it for a business? Like, what does that mindset look like? Because you said I decided to look at Instagram from a business perspective. Mm-hmm. So instead of, because I asked Nadia this, I say, how can posting selfies sell books?
Exactly.
So apparently I'm not looking at it the right way, mm-hmm. and I don't think a lot of people, like you said, were looking at it the right way. So what is that mindset that needs to happen and occur for you to be successfully using these social media platforms for your business?
Okay, so let me I guess turn that around, and I'll just ask you guys a question and kind of put you on the spot.
Okay.
Nadia, what is the number one thing that Barley's needed in order to stay open?
Well, a liquor license.
Well, honestly, they really didn't need a liquor license. If they didn't, let's say, if they stopped selling liquor, what would be the number one thing that they need to stay open?
I would definitely say, people, and they needed a better marketing plan. Absolutely.
People, right. People, right. So. People come in the form of leads, right? So people don't just hear about your business like by happenstance. They hear about it through other people. They hear about it through your marketing messages. They hear about it through your website. If you want to take out a commercial on radio, they hear about it through your commercial. But when I started researching Instagram as a restaurant, I think literally every single restaurant should have an Instagram page, because what's the number two things that people post on Instagram?
Pictures of their
Pictures of
food.
their food.
Exactly.
Pictures of themselves. Right. That's great.
Exactly. So what if you had a strategy to where, you know, if people are in there and they're already taking selfies, if you had your server walk up to that table and say, hey, you know what, I know you guys are going to take pictures. Why don't you do hashtag Barley's? And if we do a search and find that hashtag on Instagram, the next time you guys come in, you get something free. Right?
Good.
So now you have this person sitting in your restaurant taking pictures of themselves. What if you trained your staff to leverage what they're already doing to your benefit?
Right.
So that's one of the things. And then even bigger than that, pictures have almost 70 times more engagement, pictures and video, than regular text. So when you look at Twitter, and now, you know, even if you look at Twitter, now they've embedded pictures, right? People engage with pictures, and now, I mean, video is the real big thing now. So like you guys are doing Google Hangout. But if you look in your Facebook timeline, you barely even see regular status updates anymore. All you see are pictures and videos, and people sharing those pictures and videos. Even in your marketing strategy,
absolutely.
Flyer, you made a picture because a picture is more appealing than just updating your status and saying, hey, we're going to have this Google Hangout, right?
Right.
So here you have the social network that's built around the top 2 engagement platforms. That's pictures and video. Once they implemented video, like that killed it, right? Because Vine was doing such a great job that Twitter bought them. So Instagram added the video and they extended it to 15 seconds. So now you can take a video. Here's another strategy, Nadia, just and I will stay on the example of a restaurant. So what if you showed, as a chef, while you're cooking in the back of your restaurant, you showed all the ingredients to your food, right, in a video, like, because you can start and pause your video. So before you cook, you did a panoramic view of all the ingredients of your food, and once you get it all mixed up and get it together, you do another panoramic of 3 or 4 seconds. And then once you start to set the plate, you do another panoramic. And then once you finish setting the plate, you show the final product. And then that's what you save as a video, and you share that to Instagram. Now, in 15 seconds, you did this really stop motion video of your food, like before you made it and now the final product. You think that wouldn't get people to share and talk about it? Like, wow, this guy just made this beautiful looking sushi out of a couple fish and a pile of rice.
That's great.
You know what I mean? So those are some of the things that I thought about when I thought about Instagram and why I wanted to leverage it. And so even beyond that, let's look at the engagement on Instagram. 55 million pictures are liked. I'm sorry, are uploaded every day.
Wow.
55 million pictures, and this is in March when I did this research. So it's more. 2 billion likes per day. Billion, right? 85,000 likes per second. Think about that. So in the time that I just said that, there were a couple 25, 30,000 likes that just happened just that quickly.
Wow.
And if you think about like some of the hashtags, the #1 used hashtag on Instagram is love, right? So let's bring this back to an author. If I'm an author and I'm writing a book on how to love yourself, and I want to give tips on love, you know, how to love yourself in my book, and I go to Instagram and I post a quote from my book with a link back to my website with the hashtag love, you know what? That person may not go back to my website, but if you go to the Instagram search and you do a search, it shows some of the more popular hashtags. So if you have hashtag love and somebody's clicks on that hashtag, there's a high probability that your picture may show up. And then now you're at least exposed to somebody else who just happened to do a hashtag search for love, because that's the #1 most used hashtag on Instagram. So knowing things like that, and those are some of the things in my book, knowing things like that, it kind of gives you just another way to look at Instagram. And I think to your question a little bit earlier, if you look at it from that perspective versus I'm just sharing pictures with my friends, I'm sharing pictures with potential clients or with potential customers or with potential people who would buy my book, or even if they don't buy your book and they become a part of your audience or your blog or whatever, now you have new people to engage on a regular basis, and people that you engage are a lot more likely to buy your stuff than a total stranger. So it's all about engagement, and I think that I looked at Instagram from an engagement perspective versus just me sharing pictures with a bunch of friends, because I do that anyway.
Right. So AJ, that I know that was trial and error, and you learned a lot of that as your process was going to write the book. There's a lot of authors that come to us that need a plan. Do you coach people on how to do this and how to work this process?
Yeah, actually, it's funny. I don't take too many clients on, but I am starting a group of people so that I can do a group coaching or whatever. But I have a few clients that pay me, monthly, and my time is expensive. So a lot of people look at it and they're like, I ain't paying you that much money, but I know what my time is worth. So I have a few people that pay me, my rate for one-on-one coaching. But I do have, a group that's coming out. I have a few more books. One book that I'm finishing up this week, and then I have a couple more books that I'm going to publish probably in the next 2 months. I try to do a book at least every 6 weeks. That's my goal. One book every 6 weeks in 2014. So I'm going to start a group coaching versus a one-on-one coaching so that it's more of me engaging people and coaching them at the same time versus me spending a lot of time working with one or two people. I feel like I can reach more people that way, and I'm not locked into one or two people with all my time.
Now, who's your mentor? I have to know. Nicole, don't beat me up because I see the look in your eyes. This is juicy, Nicole. I have to know.
Go ahead.
Who is your mentor? Like, who are the people that you look towards to give you, insight into what you're doing?
You know what? Honestly, my mentor is not a. Okay, let me just back up. I intentionally choose my mentors through authors of other books, right? And what I mean by that is, if I find a book that I like, I really get into that author. And I go and I listen to that author's podcasts. I go read that author's blogs. I go do things like that because the people in my immediate circle, they don't know anything about marketing. They don't know anything about Instagram. The promoters that I work with, they're, all they know about is promotions for the most part. They have huge followings, and they use those to promote their club events. But it's not a strategic thing. It's more of okay, I'm going to get 10,000 people, and then I'm going to put flyers out every single day just to make sure a lot of people see the flyer, and hopefully, 3 out of 10 of those people will come to my event, right? Wow. So what I do is I read a book. So let's say, for example, Seth Godin, right? He's one of my favorite authors. So when I read his book, The Purple Cow.
I have it.
I'm sorry?
I said I have it, yes.
Yeah. Or The Dip, or any of the other books, or Gary Vaynerchuk. Not only do I read their books, or Tim Ferriss, I really dive in, and I make those guys my mentors through all the work that they're doing, and I pattern my behavior, my marketing strategies after people who have already been successful in what I want to do. And truth be told, and this is something that I'll never say again, but I'm kind of a nerd when it comes to stuff like that. And you would never know that, but if you talk to my wife, I listen to, and I promise to God, I listen to over an hour of podcasts every single day. Or I have probably 30 books, nonfiction books on my iTunes that I listen to over and over again, right? Because you listen to a book, you learn something, you write it down, but then what do you need? You need refreshers. So I will not only buy the book, I'll buy the workbook, I'll go listen to the podcast. I choose my mentors that way. It's not a, one-to-one, I'm working with a guy. So
Gotcha.
So I don't know if that answers your question, but that's kind of my method for choosing my mentors. And then over a period of time, and you start to pattern yourself, you learn things, right? Just you pick up things, and then you do trial and error. I'm a big advocate of taking action, because so many people, and I'm sure you guys know this, being authors and working with people who want to write books, most people, and I found this out in my research, 94% of people in America say that they want to write a book.
Yes.
You talk about it all the time.
94% of
they say that they want to write a book.
But out of those 94%, less than 6% of people actually get through one chapter.
Yep.
Wow.
Which is crazy. So that goes to show that everybody talks, but not a lot of people do. And I pride myself on being somebody that does. And if I mess up, then I learn something. And if I decide to keep moving forward, I will. And if I don't, I don't. I just keep it moving.
That is so.
He's talking to some geeks, because me and Nicole.
I was gonna say, nerds are cool, because clearly I think I'm cool.
Right.
I love that you said that once you get into somebody, you get into everything they have, because I think that's so important. Like, especially like new authors, you have to keep them encouraged and keep them motivated. And it's like, just write. Keep writing, write everything, write anything, and then you figure out. Like Nadia and I help them figure out spin-off products, so to speak, of how they can create a platform, because it's a difference between author and it's a difference between entrepreneur. So we try to get them from author to entrepreneur, which is what this series is about. So I love that, because you were the prime example of what happens when you stick to it, because just like you said, you read the book. So you finally got a sale on your book, and now this customer is your customer for life. Whatever you come out with, they want it. So I think that's.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I think that's what Nadia and I are really trying to teach our clients, and as well as people that come to us with so many questions, because they're like, I've been at this for so long, and I don't see the point. I don't see the residuals. I don't want to give my book away for free. But those are like economic things. I wanted to talk about that earlier, because it's like your lost leader. That's what it's called in economics.
Yep.
You give something away for free to get people in the door, and then even if the thing is sold out that they got in the door for, they're still buying stuff. Like Black Friday, when the 4 TVs are gone, people are still going to buy TVs because they came in the door to buy a TV.
Exactly.
Even if it's not the thing that they came in the door for. So I think authors just have to really, first, number one, write. Second, stick to the plan. Like, it's going to pan out eventually, and when it finally comes around and it comes to a head and you're an overnight success, they're going to want everything that you want. So I love that you said that.
Right.
So,
go ahead, Nadia.
I was just going to say, it's time to get to the juicy stuff.
Okay.
Because I'm an author too, and I want to be #1 on Amazon. So please, I mean, I'm in the high rankings, but I'm #1.
Let's do it.
So, okay, let's get to some juicy. Tell us what we need to do. Tell our authors what they need to do to get to #1. Is there a method? Because we're not trying to reinvent the wheel. If you say go step 1, 2, 3, and 4, that's what we're going to do.
Right. So I don't think there's a particular 1, 2, 3, and 4, but I think there are best practices that you can do. I think #1 is and this goes back to something that we said earlier, can you build your following based on providing value to people and something that they need? I think it's easy for businesses to do that, but let's just say as an author, right? Are you an author that engages people and you talk to them about, not only your book, but what are some of the things that they like to do or some of the things that they want to do? Do you provide value in other ways than just always blasting your book? Because if you do, then people will pay more attention to you than if you're constantly just pushing your stuff, right? So one of the things as a promoter that happened is I learned how to push my stuff, right? I just learned how to send out email blasts, send out flyers, send out this, send out that. But one of the things that I learned through doing that, and the people that I built long-term relationships with, is I started a long time ago capturing people's birthday email addresses. So whenever people had birthdays, and again, this is before Facebook, I would always email people before I was at Barley's and just say, hey, your birthday's coming up. Here are a couple different things you can do for your birthday, right? And there was no rhyme or reason. It was just because I had started collecting people's email addresses and associating them with their names and their birthdays. So when I moved that into club promotions and things like that, people automatically associated me with, hey, AJ knows where to go. But then as I started to meet more people and add more people to my quote network, then I would connect people with other people who could help them, right? So I became known as a person that can connect you with people who could be helpful. So now at one point, people just hit me up for basically anything. Like, you know what, if I don't know who can do it, I'll just hit AJ up and see if he knows somebody who can do it, right? So I think the point is provide value to people before you start shoving a book down their throat, and that's how you build their following. And Nadia, I think I'm getting off path, but I want to go back to what you said. So getting to #1, Amazon has a lot of different algorithms that factor into whether your book is #1, right? Earlier we talked about the loss leader. So giving your book away for free actually drives you up the rankings in Amazon, right?
Yeah.
So one of the things you want to do is before you launch, sit down and write out, 20 people that you know personally that you can say, you know what, my book is coming out on Amazon Tuesday next week. Would you be kind enough to download it for free on Tuesday and leave me a review? Because those are two of the factors that Amazon takes into consideration when they rank your book. So, boom, your book launches. You have 20 people that are going to your site. Amazon's going to notice all of a sudden, hey, here's this new thing, and 20 people just went and checked it out. #1, just for them going, that bumps you up the rankings, right? #2, if they download it, whether it's free or not, that bumps you up the rankings. #3, if they go there, download it, and leave a review, that bumps you up the rankings. And then if those reviews are 4 stars or more, that bumps you up the rankings even more. And then what will happen is Amazon will grab your book and they'll put it in their section called, I think it's either new and noteworthy or new and hot or hot, whatever. If you go to Amazon, you can see it. I'm not looking at it now. But once they put you over there, then all of a sudden people are going to start downloading your book like crazy. I think I had my first day when I did free, because I built so many people knew that I was going to do it. When they hit it, I think I had over 1,000 downloads within 24 hours. So
wow.
And I only did it free for 1 day, and that's another key thing. Amazon gives you 5 days that you can do for free within the first 90 days of you publishing a book. A lot of people will take their book and do it for free for 5 days. My strategy is to do it for 1 day and then change your price to something so that, because what will happen is once it goes up those rankings, it may not get to #1. I think the first day I went up to number 96 or something like that. But think about it, it's hundreds of millions of books out there, right?
Right.
So if I'm number 96, then Amazon's still looking at me as kind of hot. And another thing happens. When people click on your book and they read it and they don't buy it, and it gets inside of the top 100, Amazon sends out a newsletter that they will generate that will put your book in an email and send it to all the people that looked at your book. Like, hey, we noticed you looked at this book. What did you think about it? Why didn't you buy it? So Amazon takes over some of that stuff, right? So again, so if I have 1,000 some odd downloads in 1 day, and let's even take it back down from 1,000. Let's say it's 100 or 50, right? You're the new thing. You get 50 views, 50 looks. Now all of a sudden your price changes while you're in the new and hot. They're going to put you back on the paid side, but then your book's still going to be ranked kind of high because people just finished looking at it. So those people who are casually browsing, they're going to see this book and they're like, okay, well, it's in the hot section. Let me go ahead and check it out. It's only $5 or whatever. And I know a lot of people price their books at $9.99 or whatever, but I did it at $9.99 because I know a lot of people that will buy my book. But if you don't have your own following, the best price, and this is based on tons of case studies, is $2.99. Now, you may look at $2.99 like, that ain't really no money. You get 70%, which, again, what you want is you want to start building that residual income and those, residual downloads and things like that. So if you start getting a few people buying at $2.99, then, it may fall off the radar. But then you wait and you market it some more and you talk to people. Again, now you go out and reach out to people who your book is about. So let's say your book is about love, right? I would reach out to somebody who's in my same niche and say, you know what is your opinion on love? And, somebody who has a following, and quote them in you can make revisions to your book. So you quote, I don't know, Music Soul Child on his song Love. So, so you're like, Music Soul Child, and you take a lyric out of his love, and then you all of a sudden you say, to learn more about love, you can read this book or whatever, and then people are like, Music Soul Child, but then again, that points more traffic back to your book, and again, the more traffic you get, now you put it back on free for another day, and all of a sudden it's going back up. So it's kind of playing that algorithm and letting it go up and down a few times, because mine hit #1 in 3 weeks, but I think before it hit #1, I let it go free for 2 days, and on the third day, after it hit, I mean, I let it go free, and then I took it off, and then it had so many downloads. It hit #1, and then I let it go free again so that it would stay up there. Right?
Gotcha.
So it's about playing that little algorithm that Amazon uses with your book. But I think another big thing that I kind of glazed over there is highlighting other people.
Yes.
And not only other people that are authors, but other people that have followings. Because in highlighting other people, it raises your profile regardless. Like, just by default, that's just how it works. If you think about Oprah Winfrey, and I'm going to get off the soapbox, but if you think about Oprah, what is Oprah really famous for? Like, what did Oprah actually do?
Besides, she has a platform. No, she has a platform where she brings other voices to. Nadia has a spot for Oprah, so don't feel bad about this conversation.
I have a thing about Oprah, so I love it. Hey, Oprah! I love it.
I know, right? No, but I love Oprah too. But so here's the thing. So Oprah, when she started out, she was like with Phil Donahue and Ricky Lake, and they were all kind of like in the same thing. But she changed her platform from the negative stuff, but she started to highlight people who were doing good things, highlighting people who were adding value to people's lives. And the more people she highlighted, the more valuable she became, because she became that subject matter expert who knew all the right people that could add value to other people's lives. So over a period of time, Oprah got to say who mattered.
Right?
Yes.
So, right.
So again, even as an author, like, you can build your platform by raising other people. So like you guys are doing, like you're talking about authorpreneurs, but you're talking to other authors just to get different perspectives, because you don't know everything. But if you talk to enough people, I bet you can put a book together based on the last 10 people you talk to, and you're like, damn, we done learned so many tips now.
Light bulb.
You're on the right track, AJ. I just want to point out to our audience, the strategy that AJ is talking about really does work. I did that with the last book that I had. But I also want to point out that he's talking about Kindle Direct Publishing. So we're not just talking about CreateSpace, Lulu, Smashwords. All of those will give you an Amazon platform, but they will not allow you to do what AJ is talking about. So you guys will need to actually publish directly through Kindle Direct Publishing to be able to offer the promo days, the free days, and all of that. And I love that you said you don't do all 5 days. I even had it down to, I knew people read fiction on the weekends. So I would offer my book for free Saturday morning, because I figured when they got up, they would download my book and they would have something to read through the weekend. And then I talked about it via social media. So everything that you're saying worked. I just need to figure out one more small little tiny thing so I can hit #1 like you.
So here's another thing. And now, so here's something that you can do outside of Instagram, since my platform, or my chosen platform, is Instagram. But here's something you can do just for any type of book. And actually, you know, this is just a marketing tactic that just applies to marketing in general, right? So let's say you are a dentist, right?
Okay.
Or no, let's say you're a chiropractor.
Okay.
And you want to find all the people who are talking about their back hurt, right?
Okay.
So you can go, if you have, I think Hootsuite does it, I'm not sure, but you can go and do a search in Twitter, if you have a Twitter account, and you put the phrase that you're searching for in Twitter, and you can actually set up, I think it's called a listener. I'm not doing it right now, but you can say, I want to hear everybody who tweets about my back hurts in the zip code 30307. Or
with Twitter, it's an advanced search that you can definitely do that.
Exactly, right? So you set up that advanced search and you listen for what people are talking about in your niche. And then as those people tweet, if they're talking about love or whatever, you don't want to just sell them right away. Maybe you just say, hey, I noticed you're talking about love or whatever. Like, here's a great article that I found that you might read. And now that person's going to follow you, right? You offer them something. And then that person may look at the people you follow, or even they may look at your profile or look at the things you did. And if you're following my tips and not doing what I did, you will have a link to your author site, or you will have a link to your blog, link to whatever. And those are actually the best ways to do it. I just was able to fortunately do it without doing it. But yeah, so you can you can do things, just little hacks like that you can do to kind of grow your profile and to get people to follow you, and that will also help your help your book rise in the ranks of Kindle publishing. And that's Nadia, what you were talking about is kdp.amazon.com. That's the Kindle Direct Publishing platform for those who are listening.
I think the overall message that Nadia and I need to spread to the audience, and what you're saying and what we're saying indirectly, is you have to put in the work. Like, you just have to put in the work. You cannot just write the book and be like, that's it, I wrote the book, go buy it. Like, you have to put some other work in. You have to do some research. You have to search for your platform. Like you said, you have to see what people are talking about. You have to engage, and you have to give away quality content. Like, content is king. But even like you just said, if you're just sharing somebody else's article, I was just telling Nadia I was going to follow the trend of Tracy, who we interview in our first installment, how on Facebook she has like a whole bunch of articles that she reads, but until she gets to them, she goes on Facebook, she tags the article and she says, I'll read later, and just uses it as a post. So there now you have these people's following. You're going to read it, you haven't read it yet, but you're sharing with everybody. And I've got so many insightful articles from her. I was like, wow, she's just not dragged me in, but she's gotten my attention. So I can see that the author of this article is getting more attention, and I'm bringing my audience, because they want to know anything I say I'm reading that I like, they're going to read. I'm like, oh, I get it. I get it, but you have to put in the work, and you have to take the time, and you have to love what you're doing, because I think people get into it for the wrong reasons. Absolutely. And then when the work comes along, they're like, oh, this is for the birds.
Right. I want to know so you already had an audience. Like, people, every time I say your name, or I say AJ, people are like, oh yeah, AJ from down in Atlanta, and everyone knows who you are because you've done all of these great things. Life's a Fish, then you fry, you had the newsletter, you were doing so much promotion and consulting. We get people who have 5 Facebook friends, and they have 3 people on Twitter, and 2 of them are related to them. So so we're talking to people who are, at the ground level. What are some suggestions to build an Instagram following or a Facebook following, so that I can eventually introduce them? Because you were destined to be #1 on Amazon, because you have a great personality, you offer great products.
Thank you.
It was going to happen. People love you. But everyone doesn't have that same advantage. So what do we need to do to help them increase their following?
So I cannot drive this home enough. Engagement. And not pushy, salesy, promotional stuff. A lot of the stuff that I used to do that I learned from. So here's a perfect example. I'm sure everyone on Facebook has had this. You have your friend that's doing multi-level marketing, and then all of a sudden they inbox you out of the blue, and they're like, I have this great business opportunity for you, and it would be perfect for you and all your followers. And I'm like, hold on, but first of all, you don't even know me.
Right.
And secondly, you don't know my life.
Right.
And you don't know what my, quote, followers want, right? So think about it like this. If you're at a networking event in person, would you walk up to a person in person and say, hey, I have a great opportunity for you and all your people, ask me out? Right. You know what I mean? Like, wouldn't you say, hi, hey, how are you? My name is such and such. You know what I mean? Or, man, it's a lot of people in here today, man. I wonder, are you enjoying yourself? Like, it wouldn't be such a sales game. And unfortunately, people turn it into a sales game, and they feel like, okay, well, if I have, 100,000 friends or 2,000 friends, I could just keep pushing and keep pushing and keep pushing it. No. It's all about engagement, and it's all about authenticity, right? Yes. So, engage, but be authentic, and don't always look for the return on investment for what your product or your service is, right? So I think through the years I've learned that engagement is the #1 way. And if you don't have time to do, all the engagement, you can comment on other people's stuff and leave your opinion without putting a lot of stuff out there about yourself. and raise your profile just through, you know, interesting dialogue.
Right.
And, you know, there are people who are, you know, introverted people, and they feel like they're sharing a part of their life, or they don't want to get out there all that like that. But I have clients that I work with, and even in the past, that they just don't want to do the social media thing, and it's extremely hard to do. And I mean, a 1 in a million chance of getting discovered without having a following, especially these days, because if you think about it, most of the artists these days, when they're discovered by labels, they've already done the, you know what I mean?
Yep.
They've people on YouTube liking their songs, right?
Yep.
So think about that. So now, because I've been a 2-time best-selling author, because both of my books hit the
Woo, woo.
and now I know how to do it. So every one of my books is going to be a bestseller, and I'm saying that with confidence because I figured it out, and I'm going to keep working until I do. But imagine if you could sell a book and become an Amazon bestseller, and you can go to a publishing house and say, look, I have eight #1 bestsellers in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're likely to get, you know what I mean? Like, now when I email people and I have in my title, oh, here's something funny, and I'm bouncing all over the place because I'm excited. But I just got back from the UK a couple weeks ago, and I got a chance to fly first class. So, you know, the people up there are looking at me, you know, everybody up there is a particular, they look a certain way, and I don't look the way that the rest of them look. So,
Gotcha.
so like, what do you do? So I'm thinking like, okay, so I do all these different things. What can I tell them? So I was like, oh, I'm a #1 best-selling author. And they were like, really? So now all of a sudden, everybody wants to talk to me. I get everybody's business cards. There's one lady, she's a doctor, and the other guy, he's a dean of a university. Another guy's a coach at University of Missouri. Like, all these people want to know who I am because I'm an Amazon #1 bestseller. So guess what that does now? It raises my profile again, right?
Yeah.
But back to your original point, you need some type of following, and that following can feed itself. If you start to provide value to people, then other people will want to follow you. Or if you don't want to do it yourself, create an avatar for your product, right? So give your book, create a pen name. I know several people. This guy, S.J. Scott, he does a ton of books on social media. But it's an avatar. It's a fake. It's not his name. It's nothing about him. But he's created that avatar, and he has a Facebook page for it, and he has all these things for it, and nobody knows him. But he leverages Instagram and Twitter and all these things through his pen name. So there are other ways. There's more than one way to skin a cat. But I think, you know, #1, grow following. And if you don't want to be the person out there, do it for your business or do it for the vine.
I ain't gonna do it. They better do it. Wow, AJ.
So AJ, we have just really enjoyed this. Oh my gosh. Like I'm taking notes and everything. I'm coming for the #1 spot, AJ, is what I need you to know. I'm coming. I'm on my way.
So here's another thing, just really quickly though. I think that if you go to Instagram Marketing on Fire, I don't know if I still have it up. Let's see. If you go to InstagramMarketingOnFire.com, that is my lead capture page, right? Let me know if you guys can pull it up.
Yeah, we're looking right now.
Okay. InstagramMarketingOnFire.com. And you know, I actually got a email from Instagram warning me to take my page down because I'm using their name in my title.
Wow.
My website.
You can't say Instagram. It's still up. I see it.
I know it's still up. I ain't take it down.
Oh.
Nicole, can you share it? Can you share your screen so our audience can see what that looks like?
Okay.
Definitely. You guys bear with us.
No, that's
no problem.
But I'll keep talking while you share. So the reason I brought this up is not to show off my lead capture page, but it's to let people know that you can set up a 1-page lead capture page and send people to that page like, hey, you know, whatever your book is about. This particular book was about marketing. Is it on the full screen?
Yep, I have it on the full screen now. You can see it. Hello?
Did we lose him?
AJ, you still there?
I think we lost him for a second. I'm sure he'll log back in. But this is his lead capture page, and for everybody to kind of know what a lead capture page is, basically it may have just a little bit of information about your book, your product, your service, whatever, and then it will have where they can opt in with
Right.
a email. And in this case, he's asking an engaging question. And then he's saying, you click that, show me how, and I'm sure it's going to be an email that pops up that's attached to it. And I know this book is really good because I have both of his books. I haven't delved into the restaurant owners. I just purchased that one today, but I do have his other book about Instagram, and it's very good.
And what he also put on here I wanted to point out is that he has this hurry. So he's creating a sense of urgency with this countdown. Like, you have this amount of time to get in on what we're doing. So that's another thing that authors can definitely do. This is a great example actually for our authors, because this is the template that they can use. So I love that AJ is showing us this and allowed us to view his page.
And can you do me a favor? Can we take this down? Because I think that's what caused him to jump. I think when we shared screen, it rejected him. So we'll take that down. We appreciate your patience. We'll be sure to edit this part out.
Yeah. We're going
We will edit this part out and get him back on. Let me tell him to log back in. Hold on. Okay. I think he should be up in just a second. I don't know about you. This is probably, all of these interviews have been so good, Nicole.
Are you kidding me? I am like re-inspired, if that's the word. Because I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. Because again, like AJ was saying, we don't know everything. And it's not our job. We consider ourselves an authority on the subject of writing and publishing, but at the same time, we're not closed-minded about bringing in other perspectives and other aspects of the publishing and writing industries. Because, I mean, we have to continuously grow. We're teachable people, and that's the thing that authors have to remain. You have to remain teachable. You don't know it all. Like he said, there's more than one way to skin a cat. So.
And I think the other thing that's really, really important to know is, like he said, there's an algorithm to it. And you don't have to, you have to just take notes, see what works for your target market, and then keep repeating that. We don't have to add anything else to it. We can just do that. And it's effective. I mean, he's had two number one books. So we know that it works. You know what I mean?
Right.
We don't, like I said, we don't have to reinvent the wheel.
And I will also say that at the same time, like he said, engagement is key and content is key. Like, you have to give people something. So if you don't want to give away copies of your book for free, which I don't recommend not doing, you have to, like he said, go on people's blogs, go on people's websites, say something nice. I think this is a really cool book cover. Just things like that. People love compliments. Pay compliments. Like, it would just be like he said, if it was a person-to-person interaction, if you had nothing else to say and you were if you had stage fright at that moment, you can say, I love your blouse. So it's that same mentality online. You can say, I love your book cover. Who did your book cover? Did you do your own book cover? And that just, it's about opening and starting the conversation. So I know that's definitely what AJ was pointing us towards, but it just takes time. You got to stick with it. Stick with the plan, and it'll happen for you. So I agree completely with engagement and content, and that's definitely what.
While we're talking about engagement and content is king. That's one of the things that Stokes Mathews Media does offer to our clients. Is we create content for you for your website. We can do photography. That photography can be used on Instagram. Like, we will give you the tools to do content, because here's the thing. A lot of people want to write books, but they don't have time to write the blog posts and things like that. That's when you hire someone else. You don't have 13 hands. We will be a set of hands for you, and we can create content for you so that you can start to build a reputation. You can build followers and all of that. So I think that's definitely key as well, Nicole.
Definitely. And if you want more information about the services that we offer, you can send us an email at info@stokesandmatthewsmedia.com. And Nadia and I, if you can't tell by this series, like, we love what we do, and we're pretty open to you asking us your questions. Like, we have our on stokesandmatthewsmedia.com/take action. We actually have where you can go and you can sign up to speak with us, and just for 30 minutes get all the answers you need, all the questions you have answered by us, whatever it is, about publishing, about writing, about, am I good enough to write this book? Do I have a concept? Is my story sellable? Like, all the questions that we get asked on a constant basis, you can ask us if you just visit www.stokesandmatthewsmedia.com/take action. And we just are trying to promote people and push people to finish this year strong, because we only have, 4 months left in 2014?
And I can't, how many of you said, I'm going to write a book?
Right.
I promise. I'm going to write a book this year.
2014 is going to be different, right?
It's going to be different. I have a client whom I absolutely adore, and I'm going to just throw her under the bus. She's going to know that I'm talking about her. But she has pushed her release date like 4 times. It was in February, and then March, and April. And I was just messing with her today, and I said, so when are we going to release this book? You know, because I get it. We have so many different things that we're doing, but I just do not have any sympathy. I'm just going to tell you, because I have 3 small children and a husband. And if I can pick a book out and I can do, we've done 2 shows today, you guys, 2. Yeah. And the first show, I dragged all my babies and my niece with me. And I'm on my second cup of coffee for the day. I mean, the truth is that we make time for the things that are important to us. And until you put your project first on your list, on your to-do list, then you'll always have that dusty manuscript sitting underneath, sitting on your computer, because nobody writes anymore. Nobody has like these pages, but it's still going to be sitting on your computer, not complete. So I would suggest today, after you watch this program, set up and commit to what you're going to do so you can finish this year strong. And I get it. You need a push, a kick in the butt. Let me tell you who you can call. Info or email info@stokesandmatthewsmedia. We will harass you. We will come and we will call you. We will read your outline.
Numerous emails. Yes, we will hang out with you. Yep, face to face.
Yes, exactly. We will tell you that you're a loser because you haven't. No, I'm just kidding. We're not going to tell you.
I would say, whoa, Nadia. We're not going to tell them they're losers.
We're not going to tell them that.
They're winners.
No. We're going to work with you, we promise, and we will help you finish this year strong, because at the end of the day, Nicole, it's all about building a legacy. We want people to leave their fingerprint. We're going to help you own your story. We're going to help you write your book, and then we're going to teach you how to share it with the world. That is what Stokes and Mathews Media is all about, and it's what we want to do, because there's a million publishers out there. Let's just be honest. Everybody's a publisher. Nobody's educating anybody on the behind-the-scenes process of publishing, and that's what we do, right?
Right. That's what this whole series is about, because we noticed that there was a gap between authors understanding business principles. So we said, we took entrepreneur, author, put them together, Authorpreneur, the entrepreneur's roadmap to success. And if you have not been able to listen to the whole series, it's available on YouTube. And I believe on the 9th of August, it'll be available as a podcast download. So you can listen to it in your car, as you're running. You can just get all these expert advice and opinions, straight to your ears, so that you can start implementing some of these things. Like, the time is now. What are you waiting for? What else has to happen before you're like, I'm going to finally do and live out my dream? But Nadia, I think we're coming to the end of our hangout.
I know.
And we didn't get AJ back, but I mean, he still blessed us with so much information.
Oh my gosh! And he You guys, he is Facebooking me right now, and he's like, "Oh, wait a minute, I have more to say." I don't. Google, I think when you're in a live broadcast, maybe it kicks. If you drop, it doesn't let you come back. So I'm not sure exactly what happened.
No.
But you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna have to bring AJ back. Maybe we'll do a podcast with him, and we can continue the conversation. Because we appreciate you, AJ. We appreciate all the info that you gave. I took a lot of great notes. If you are smart, as soon as this playback is back up, you will rewind it and you will do what he told you to do, because he had a lot of great information. Can you again say what his website is for Instagram marketing?
It is instagrammarketingonfire.com, and that's how you can get in contact with what he does and read his books, read his bio, and he shows you how to use, again, Instagram to sell your products, sell your books, sell your services, sell yourself, and really turn on the business aspect of your mind from that personal aspect of, oh, selfie, this is what I'm eating, this is what I'm doing, but he's showing you how to use it, you know, for your to your advantage. And then also he gave us some, oh my gosh, invaluable information of how to become a #1 Amazon bestseller, because he's done it. So I am so full, Nadia.
Yes,
I'm full.
I am full as well. And just so you know, you guys, we're going to keep doing these really great videos. We have a little trick up our sleeve. We love to put a little twist on everything. So we're going to be announcing our next series on our What's on Your Shelf radio show. It's on the Jericho Broadcast Network, and that information will be on our Facebook page at Stokes Mathews Media. It'll be on the website, all of that information. So tune in next Wednesday. Our show goes live at 12 o'clock, and we are going to tell you guys what we have up our sleeve. I think we should give some stuff away, because I think we have some books that some authors have sent us. So we may have giveaways coming down the pipeline. So you
have to like our page, though. Like our page so you can stay in the mix.
Yes, yes. Well, you guys, it has been a pleasure. I have truly enjoyed it, Nicole. I will be stalking you tomorrow.
Okay.
Talking to you guys really soon. Y'all have a wonderful night.
Have a good one.